if how does this grow? Because you've got animators on the island, like you said, you moved things to the island. Is that something you want to continue to do?
Yes.
Is that so you want to grow your base on the island?
Absolutely. We have several options now in terms of the one thing that the pandemic taught us is we do not need a significant amount of square footage anymore because people can work remotely. People can, we have people working remotely on the island. We intend to utilise more of a data centre approach. So the one thing this island's not short of is data centres. The second thing it's got a lot of is connectivity. So I would also say, surprisingly, and I've mentioned this before, it's not short of talent either. We've hired on island. We thought we'd have to attract more people from off island, and we have been successful in attracting, people from all over the world. And they have come. They've embraced the culture, and their families are here as well, which is a big thing for I'm excited about that. Every time somebody who works for us says I'm trying to buy a house, which is also an issue. Then I'm really excited, and if they say I've moved my family over, all well and good, because it helps to justify what we thought was the right model in the first place.
Just on that, I suppose it can be a bit hard to put figures on it, but do you have a sort of a ballpark range for what you want to grow on your own? Because if you say data centre thing, that also gives the impression that people, if they can work remotely, it isn't necessarily bringing jobs to the island.
No, the people who work here, when I say remotely, it'll be remotely at Andreas or remotely at Ballasella. It'll be, we have animators in the room next door who were saying, I can work next week, but is it okay if I'm working at the end of Douglas Promenade in my flat because I've got this issue or that issue? When I say remotely, it's the jobs that we will bring to the island. We will have to keep a presence in the UK because that's also an integral part of our operation. But we are looking to move more stuff to the island, and we've also we've also got involved with a company which is I can only describe it as a US-based company at the moment, which is the equivalent of Netflix for kids. It has a significant number of hours of curated content. We're ideally placed to be partnering with them and bringing their jobs to the island as well, and they are very clear that they want to come to the island and want to create jobs as well. Those jobs will be a little bit different to the ones that we create, in terms of we might create jobs around animation, dubbing, mixing, editing, that type of thing. They will create marketing type jobs, blogging jobs, jobs that involve interaction with media companies. A lot of their content goes on the likes of Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and things like that. They're actually a separate pay-per-view on Amazon Prime, I think. And there's a thing in America which is their largest, probably American equivalent of Virgin, which is called Comcast, and they are well placed on Comcast as well. That's going to progress over the course of the next 2 weeks. The guys from that channel will be here early in May, and I'm sure they will have a lot to say about their plans for the island as well. So,
just sort of finally, if we return back to think of on-island recruitment, it's just a surprise sort of thing in terms of, is that, what sort of people is it you're looking for in that sense? Is it the creative archetypes? Is it, what?
I can give you a range. So, in our business, you generally start as a runner. So you go in and making cups of tea for people. And I saw something on the TV last night where quite a famous TV presenter said, it was never her intention to be a TV presenter. She went into TV as a runner. She was making cups of tea for Joan Collins and people like that, and she ended up as a presenter. So what we generally find is most of the people that we hire at the lower end come in as runners and they get trained up, and then at the higher end, so a runner is the base. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to be a graduate to be a runner. You just need to be enthusiastic and have some idea that you want to be in media in some way, because most people come into that environment not knowing whether they want to be a dubbing mixer, not knowing whether they want to be an animator, not knowing whether they want to be an editor, and there are various types of editors, not knowing whether they want to be a grader, which is the higher echelons of editing. So what we're looking for in terms of our core business would be runners, dubbing mixers, and that's sound assistants, that can be people who manipulate sound, that can be anything from a trainee right the way through to a fully qualified dubbing mixer. And our on-island dubbing mixer is actually 32nd in the world in terms of accreditation on a thing called AVID, which is the industry standard dubbing suites. So we're not without talent. Graders, if we got a grader on the island, it's probably we bring one of our own graders from the UK, but we are looking for, in our core business, all of those things: animators, storyboard artists at one end, because we're looking to creating original content on the island as well. We're looking for anybody with story ideas that might need developing. We're looking for anybody who...
I've got 12.
Yeah, you've got 12. Well, again, we've got some significant original content that we want to bring to, we want to do it in that room. The people in that room are not without ideas themselves, and some of them are actually pretty stunning. Who would have thought of a talking mongoose? Now, that...
A very special girl.
Well, again, what you've got is... anybody who says they know what a good idea for television is lying. And I say that with the greatest of respect to commissioners who have to pick what they think is a good idea for television. But things like Peppa Pig sat around for 5 years. Bob the Builder, when he started, and I love this story, Bob the Builder looked like some kind of mustachioed Freddie Mercury builder out of the Village People, and who's to say he wouldn't have been a success like that, but he was modified by somebody who we work with quite closely in the industry, and become the success it's become today. So who's to say that a talking mongoose can't be the next big thing, or who's to say that one of the other ideas that we've got for goth cats, and I always say that with, I can't say, it's a hard thing to pronounce. I always want to say cloth caps, but goth cats is something that we probably develop on the island. We've got a couple of ideas from people on the island as well. So anybody who has got an idea, we're open to that. The other thing we do a lot of is reversioning. So this might seem like, there's an infinite number of jobs. There's an infinite number of jobs in this industry. But if we're reversioning programs, what we're doing is we take in stuff that's either made in America, Russia, Korea. We reversioned a Korean program just recently where the executive producer was based in New York. The program originated in Korea, and the person who was overseeing the production process was based in Hong Kong. So it was really, what you then do is you'd be taking a Korean script, you'd be adapting it, which is something that we do. So we're looking for writers as well. But the biggest thing in reversioning is artists, voice artists. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, there's 85,000 people on this island who can speak. A lot of them would be budding actors. Voice acting is a legitimate form of acting, and we're looking for voice actors as well. So, and one thing that I would say is, despite my pathetic Mancunian accent, I have noticed a number of voices on the island that are absolutely stunning voices, and it's a bizarre thing to say, but I actually noticed that. You know, there's a couple of radio presenters on Manx Radio who were pretty amazing. There's probably a couple of people who stand up and talk in Tynwald who could make quite good cartoon characters as well. So
I think about 33 of them make very good cartoon characters. But that's different.
yeah, but you've tried that, haven't you? You've tried animating them.
Yeah.
Daphne's really proud of her pictures, by the way, which is an aside.
It is interesting to know the MLCs. There's at least two of them said to me, "Why haven't we got one?" And I was like, "Well, people don't know who MLCs are, unfortunately."
I think that voice acting as well actually gives people a way in, because it's probably not as daunting as standing up on a stage and bearing your soul to thousands of people. You know, sitting in a sound booth and being directed is probably less daunting than going to the villa and standing up on stage there. So any number of jobs, you know, I think sky's the limit in terms of what we could provide. I think it just needs a willingness from us and a buy-in from the powers that be, and I think that buy-in includes just a differentiator between the different types of media, and that's not me being judgmental saying one's right, one's wrong. I just think that we have our own agenda. We want to do what we want to do. That's not to say we wouldn't edit any films, because we would. We'd love there to be 100 films there at any one time and us to be editing them. But the sustainability comes from the editing process. The sustainability comes from the writing process. The sustainability, you know, comes from having, if you're going to do film, it comes from having more than one film. It doesn't come from having one film every blue moon.
Now, knights, I would like you to find a pet for the princess. Now! Go find one!